My meeting will come to order. Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Commissioner Rosenberg.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, all present and accounted. Public comments, I don't see anybody in the audience. I can assume that there's no public comments at this point. Carol?
I have none.
Okay, thank you. I can also assume that there's no presentations scheduled based on the agenda. Very good. Minutes of the regular meeting of the Lake Forest Parks and Recreation Commission held on May 21st. Are there any recommended changes before we have a motion to approve? Is there a motion from the floor?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh, we got to vote. Sorry.
Oh.
We're just...
Oh, there. Wait. Did you?
I wasn't here.
Oh, you weren't here.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
did the right
That is correct. Okay. Motion passes. Discussion action items, the May 2015 recreational report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I'm actually going to turn this over to Recreation Managers Vicki Levin and Rob Gaylord.
Chair and Commissioners, tonight we have our May Recreation Report. I'll give you the highlights of the areas and divisions that I oversee. A highlight for May would be the Village Palm Park Community Education Program. An update on that program began on May 1st. At the time that this report was written, we had 53 visits to the park by staff. The visits done to the park by staff to give out the cards that said "Do not feed the wildlife" were done throughout the day, 7 days a week. So Monday through Friday, it's a combination of the code enforcement officers and the stars that go to the park and hand out the cards. And in the evenings and on the weekends, it's our field ambassadors that go to the park to hand out the cards. The goal of the program is to not only track the number of people at the park per visit, but also to hand out the cards themselves. So, like I said, there was a total of 53 visits, and 112 park visitors were counted as part of the groups that were at the park, and the age of the groups, age range for the groups that were there were as young as 2 and as old as 65. And I'm assuming these were estimates. I don't think the staff asked them particularly how old you are, but that's the estimates that they were given. And I will give you another update next month on the amount of people that we've contacted. It's been successful in the fact of knowing really what's going on at the park. You know, seeing who's there, who's not there, what time of day that they're there, when they're feeding, when they're not feeding. And we've also actually had some feedback from staff saying that the public in general has been very open to the information that they're getting, that they're receiving. Some in particular said, I really did not realize that my feeding the wildlife people food would be harmful to them. And the other part of the program is new signs at the at Village Palm Park that are very distinctive. You can see them from the street, and they are in English and in Spanish as well. The other part of my report has to do with the skate park. Once again, we had Ryan Sheckler's Skate for a Cause. That was on May 2nd. Very popular event. Over 2,000 spectators were at the park itself. And each year they do seem to have more and more coming to the event. Great cause. Always a really good feel event. One of the skate park former employees and resident who started skating at the park when he was probably like 5 or 6 won the contest and gave his prize, which was $3,000, back to the event as a fundraiser. The other thing they added this year was they included adaptive athletes, and they allowed athletes in wheelchairs to ride the skate park, which we've done in the past before, but not as part of an event. They've just come to the park. Last thing for the month of May would be, actually I have two more things, would be the Mighty Mama Skate-A-Rama, group of moms that go skate at different parks throughout Southern California. They chose our park this year to skate at on Mother's Day. About a group of 100 participants were there. One of the ladies who's the organizer of the event actually is an author of books, and the books that she writes are children's books, and they're all having to do with skateboarding. So that's always a fun event to see them go there. The last two items would be one more about the skate park, National Scholastic Skateboard League Contest. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that is a skateboarding version of the sports teams that you would see for high schools, and they do have contests throughout the year. The finals were held this year at the skate park, and El Toro and Trabuco both have teams that practice at the park itself. Unfortunately, neither of those teams won. Edison High School was the team that won the overall series this year. The last thing I wanted to mention as a highlight was the Rockahula Luau Dinner and Dinner Dance. May 8th, it had 106 participants for this program. Same amazing dance that we always have. Highlight of this one was they tried a new game with the seniors, and they all loved it. They played charades to kick off the night, and it was very successful from what I was told. It's a very nice new component to our already really successful dances. That's my report for the month of May, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions, comments?
I just have one question.
Yes.
Going back to and great report, by the way. On the village park numbers, when they talk about they spoke to roughly 100, I don't know if they spoke, 112 park visitors. Were those 112 people feeding the ducks, or
No.
just people at the park?
People at the park.
So are we going, and it may be too hard to do since it's a random sampling, but are we counting like the number of folks that are actually bringing, like feeding the ducks? Because I'm kind of curious if...
Well, anytime somebody's feeding the ducks, they are handing them a card.
Okay.
So when they're handing them the cards, sorry, it's okay. When they're handing, if they're handing them a card, they're feeding the ducks.
Okay.
So if they're not giving them a card, they're not really counting them as being part of the people who are at the park. So if there's 112 people at the park, they're only giving out a card to one of the people from those groups.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. I was just
Yeah.
I was hoping to see if there's a way we can look at, and I just don't know how you do it unless you're camped out there, to see if there's a way to track if it's working, if we're reducing the number of folks showing up feeding, and it's it's seasonal now that it's summer. We're going to see more people at the park. So I guess
Yeah.
there's not really an easy way to do a survey like that.
Yeah,
I'm thinking out loud
unfortunately,
here, yeah.
there's not. I can say the biggest thing that we have seen, though, is when they have given out cards, people are receptive to the fact.
That's great to
Which,
hear.
in my mind, that is a
Yeah.
positive scenario
Yeah.
itself.
That's great.
But I have been told that there are still people who are going there and feeding. They're stopping the feeding when we give them the card. So the next step is the enforcement by police services. And I think that would be scheduled to start July 1st. And that's at the discretion of the people who are going out and giving out the cards. So if they see somebody blatantly doing it and they feel that they can call police services to come and give them a ticket,
Okay.
they will. I don't, it's at their discretion. So it's not every time they see somebody out there feeding that they're going to call.
Okay.
But I think I know we've told them is that if it's blatant and they're throwing bags on bags,
Yeah.
which there are some people who do that, then yes, that's when they would call.
No, but it sounds like it's very positive. It's nice to hear
Yeah.
positive feedback, and we're not
Yeah.
getting beaten up over it. So I think
Exactly.
that's great. So
right.
good. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments?
Yes, please.
Yes, Commissioner Rose.
I'm going to say on July 1st, precluding the fact that we have police services as of that date, but we will. I couldn't miss on that one. A quick question regarding the numbers here related to the open gym basketball and volleyball. Is there let's say, a capacity number that has been established of, does this number, what I'm trying to say, let's take basketball. Does the number of people, which is somewhere between, in this case, 1,100 and 1,200, are we at capacity? Are we over capacity? it would be just kind of an interesting number to balance against the usage.
I haven't been told that we're running over capacity.
Okay.
What they basically do on the side courts are running like 5-on-5 games.
Right.
And when one team loses, another team comes in or challenges.
Yeah.
So I haven't been told yet that we're busting at the seams.
Because I would think that down the road, maybe even shortly, when we take a review of this and possible fees and things like that, because it's almost 2-to-1
Yeah.
non-residents, if we're at capacity or pushing it, we may have to do something. If it's still great, we've got room and nobody's crowded out,
Yeah.
then, hey, the more the merrier.
Okay, but at the July meeting, I'll have a report for you for updating some fees, and that'll be one of the fees.
Okay.
Because we have like 6-7 months of actual data now.
Right.
And that'll be July or August.
Yeah. That would help if, you know, at least if you can come and say, we're hearing we're not pushing capacity, then everything's wonderful, in my opinion. We don't have to get that drastic with it. Since you commented on Village Pond, I'd do it now instead of later. I think in the last about 30 days, I've been by the place 5 times and actually pulled over a couple minutes. A couple of interesting facts to me, because that's kind of the hood I'm in, is the number of people overall seems to have decreased. There have been on 2 of the occasions, and I sat there for about probably 10 minutes or so, nobody. I mean, that's very unusual. And it also seemed, and I'm not totally into the flight patterns and habits and migration of the fowl, but it seemed there were less ducks around. I mean, there are times when they cover the entire park almost, but it just seemed that there were less. So, of course, you know, and nothing to do until we do the renovation. The grass is almost, there's almost, at least on the front part, no more grass left. So, but that's not a big deal right now. So, you know, I don't know if that has some bearing of it, but it seems to be working. They weren't coming out to the street like they typically do. I got out of the car, ducks have come. The only other thing with the signs, I saw the signs are good. Would it be possible maybe to consider putting a few more in, because where they're located is kind of dead center. And people over the years, I know, come in from the sides kind of on an angle, walking towards the water, and they don't see them then. So it's maybe a thought to consider.
Okay.
you.
I think that Rob has his division report to give as well.
Thank you, Commissioners. May activities. Aliso Creek Cleanup Day. We had 77 volunteers, 38 adults, 39 minors. And if you remember, it was postponed for 2 weeks because of the rain. So I think we lost some groups, especially some youth groups, like the scout troops. The members of the troops came by, but not as much as they have in past years. And this was the first year that we actually had more minors than adults, so that was kind of interesting. They cleaned from Trabuco to west of Geronimo. Items pulled from the creek included a hot plate, shopping cart, a desk chair, bike parts, and a sleeping bag. So all of the volunteers were given a shirt, a snack, and given equipment, gloves, bags, and reacher sticks. I don't know. It was pretty heavy. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I don't think so, because it was in the bottom of the, like someone found near the bottom of the river.
Maybe
So
at the sports park.
yeah, no, it was an old one. It was huge. So, but it was a good day. Everyone had a good time, and they worked hard. Teen Lounge for the month of May averaged 53 teens. New games of blow-up soccer, which I don't know what that is. And also, we've been doing some bowling in the gymnasium, a plastic bowling ball and bowling pins. The kids seem to like it. I think the Teen Lounge's last day was this past week. So, but very interestingly, we have our teen camp this year. numbers are unbelievable. So we're going great gangbusters for the summer program, the camp. Our summer concert series will begin Sunday, June 28th, with No Duh, which is a No Doubt band, tribute band, and the Suffragettes, an all-female band. It's at 5:30, but the first one is at the sports park, so please remember that. And it'll be our first summer concert at the sports park. So I'm sure we'll have to get some bugs out, but it's the first time at the sports park, so we're looking to see, looking forward to seeing how many people will be there. June 28th. And finally, I invite all of you to attend, if you're not already, the July 4th parade. We have 96 entrants this year, and I hope to see all of you at the parade. And that concludes my report.
I have a question, a comment. On the July 4th parade, is there going to be any update, as I understand that we are to participate in the parade, wearing our shirts? Can you give us any details of how that's going to work as far as...
Has Ron contacted you?
No, I haven't been contacted.
Okay. You probably will get something like a week in advance, but if you want to participate, I think they have the train again. Is that right?
Yeah, there's trains. And there's cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty easy. I mean, you're judging, right?
Yeah, I'm judging, I'm the information reading.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go with the commissioner float, but I don't know the logistics.
Ron will be contacting you.
So we'll be contacted
Yes,
prior to the...
Yes.
It's kind of like you go for the parade, but only you're going to be in a different spot, and you're going to have a train.
No, I didn't know what that spot was or anything like that.
Well,
Spot number 13 is us.
Oh, it's number 13?
13.
Oh.
yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have my judges.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose we meet early morning on something like that?
Well, you know, the parking.
I believe it's El Toro High School. You meet in front of there.
And staff will provide that information. If obviously they haven't contacted you, you'll get something in writing,
Okay.
kind of the when, the where, what your role
I
is,
mean,
all
we're only
that.
talking
Yeah.
another couple weeks off.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will be getting...
And then we
paid
get
up.
shirts, right, Carol?
Correct.
Oh, the red one?
Where, do you have them?
I am electronic
So when do we pick those up? After the meeting. Okay. That's where I was trying to get understanding how this thing works, so.
Okay.
And how many of the commissioners are planning to ride in the parade? One? All of us?
No, except for me, I'm judging.
Oh, you're judging? Oh, that'd be
You'll
good.
just wave to me.
I just waved to you.
Give me a big smile.
Will you vote for us this time?
You're not. You're not. You're on.
Oh, we don't go for an award.
Well, no, unless you're going to decorate your own car and do an entry.
Oh, I see.
If you're just going to be in a car, I'm sorry.
All right. Hey,
Decorate
I
a car.
just asking.
We have, criteria.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay, very good.
Or unless you want to provide your own entertainment, then you could be in.
I get the message. Thank you. I think we can arrange something.
And can I ask one question on I'm looking forward to next month, as you guys know, about the fees and all that, but I have a question on the numbers for volleyball and basketball. When it talks about the residents and non-residents, does that include when we have tournaments, like say we have NJB or we have whatever tournament?
Those numbers are just for open play.
Just for open play, okay.
Play.
Look how, that's amazing.
Oh, the place is crowded a little bit.
It is, and what's is very interesting is how we're seeing it's very disproportionate now from residents to non-residents, and so I'm really looking forward to the fees, and so, yeah, this will be good. Thank you.
May I have my comment?
Yes, you can.
No,
Oh,
that's okay, because we had Vicki, and then we had Ron.
Commissioner Herring, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. All right, I wanted to comment on the Village Pond Park Education Program. I, too, noticed there seemed to be less ducks or waterfowl. Well, it's the correct term. And I was visiting with some friends, and they brought it up to me. They said, hey, we drove by. It seems like there's less birds. So this is good. But of course, I know they're at different times of the day. there's less than other times. So we might have just hit it at the right time when they're flown away for something else.
We've actually heard that comment from a lot of people, though. In fact, I was there 2 days ago, and I was a little kid who was fishing. Yeah, fishing. Asked me where all the ducks went. So I think it's seems to be a consensus that there are fewer waterfowl there.
Wow, isn't that amazing? What a great impact staff has already made. Congratulations. All right, I just want to commend you guys on that. Yeah. Yeah. And then also I was going to ask on the Rockamama, that's something that they go to they do it annually different, and this was the first time they came, and I presume they loved us.
They've wanted to come to our park before.
Uh-huh.
They usually have another part of their program that's attached to when they're there, and I don't know all the details. I just know it's not fit into our venue.
Oh.
So this is the first time where they've been able to come to our park within the venue of what they've wanted to do.
Great.
I think they've done fundraisers in the past, and we don't normally work unless it's like the Ryan Sheckler event. We don't normally have fundraisers at the park, but they had a great time, and I think there's a picture in your report, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so they bring their families, and it's just a great day for them for Mother's Day.
I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then the local skateboarder that won,
Yes.
Daniel Vargas.
Yes.
I think I know him or his mom.
He is one of
Because-
our first skaters.
Right,
Like, he
yeah.
started skating there when he was 5 or 6.
I think we probably all know him.
Yeah.
By sight,
Uh-huh.
probably.
Yeah,
'cause he's
probably.
been there so much.
It's a good kid.
But I think because I remember his mom saying, "Oh, he lives at the skate."
Probably exact same one. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm just excited about all that stuff. All right, so that's it for my part of the rec report. Thank you.
Okay, can I jump one more question? Because I thought about that. Can we do something for this kid he donated back. Maybe we can present him some kind of certificate.
Oh, definitely.
Because that's really cool. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but how neat is that?
Yeah.
And maybe can we get it on the website, like a little story on the website? That would be kind of nice. you know?
I like the connection too that he is an original skier at the park and became a
Exactly.
staff person, and then definitely.
And maybe even if we know anyone that writes on the patch or something, maybe put something. So because that's a great story, and it would be nice to see some positive stuff about the skate park, because Nick does such a great job over there that I think the more we can get people to be aware of it, but what a great story. So,
Yeah.
thank
Great
you for
idea.
reminding me
Thank
of
you.
that. That's-
Anyone else? We've completed our comments. We'll move right into the director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. A couple of things. So you have a kind of a light meeting tonight, but we have a couple of big meetings coming up in July and August. July will probably be Portola Park. We're going to bring the conceptual design to you for your comments, and obviously we forward your recommendations to the City Council. I would expect that you'll have a lot of folks showing up and a lot of folks eager to give some public comment on that. The August meeting, I'm planning on bringing the recommended fees and a tournament policy to you. And I didn't want to put those both on the July meeting because I think we'll have our hands full with the Portola Park analysis. So those are kind of the next two meetings that you have coming up. Second council meeting in July is when Village Pond Park, the conceptual design, goes back to council. They've already approved the conceptual design. What they're really doing, this is their final opportunity to comment on it. We're just sort of reporting back to them as to where we are with it, anticipated construction timeline and expenses, and that sort of thing. That's the second meeting in July. I also wanted to get a count. Several of you expressed an interest in attending the NRPA conference, National Recreation Parks Administration Conference. It's in Las Vegas this year. You absolutely may do it. I just need to have a count. I need to do some administrative work on the back end before I can register you, but it should not be an issue. So I was going to just check in with the commissioners to see who's interested in that. And I forget the date. September?
15th.
15th through the 18th. Okay. Okay.
I'd like to go the day before to whatever that chore is.
Okay.
It's not a chore, it's the pond guy. Pond guy. Pond ticket.
Oh,
They're doing something. The pond ticket guy is doing some.
Pawn Stars. Is that it? Okay.
Yes, he's doing something the day before, but I'm sorry, I can't remember what it was. So if you had your smartphone, you could look it up.
So
I'm a yes.
2? Okay. 3. Okay.
3.
Okay.
Are you on the fence?
It's a word.
Or
Yeah, I can tell you back to this week.
Absolutely. You know, I can include you. I just sort of wanted to get an idea. If you decide not to register, that's, yeah, absolutely, you can get back to me. So I'll move forward.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in it. I just need to go back and look at the dates. And
Okay.
Working
Okay.
days.
So, okay.
Yeah, the 15th.
Can I, Mr. Director, make a comment related to this? Having been, and Loretta also has been to both CPRS and NRPA, and it's like watching a baseball game in Angel Stadium and watching one in Pawtucket. No, Pawtucket's AAA, so I got to go lower than that. Somewhere in the cornfields, build them and they will come. And frankly, you know, I would really like to. I think the information, the material there is a lot more valuable than what we get at CPRS, and I think that we should really look at, if we go to be there the whole, we get the whole breadth of it. You know, if not, maybe the money could be used then for, you know, a staff person or something.
So there's a different staff travel policy, and I'm checking to see if we're even able to attend because it's out of state. But you're certainly allowed to attend. You would still have to live within your travel budget, and if you decide, the good thing is that CPRS this year it should be somewhere in Long Beach.
Long Beach,
So
yeah.
that's local. It probably wouldn't be very expensive if you decide to attend that also. And you can sleep on my right.
Stay right, yeah.
What are they? Sofa surfing, right? I'll bring that cool hot plate home, and I'll make you some snacks.
We're on. Love it.
I have a question, a
Yes.
clarification question. On the budget, that includes the fee as part of the $1,000 budget. Now, how much is the fee? Is it like 500 or 400?
It's like 450, right. And then it's like 600 after that.
So,
Remember, it's cheaper too.
No, well, that is the member price.
so that leaves $600 for travel expenses and hotel, okay.
Yeah.
I know that when I was researching hotels, the host hotel is at
Yeah, Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay. The best rate you can get is 150 plus tax. That's about it. But Carol, you tell me that there's other bargains in the area?
Yeah, comment on that. One of the ones they recommend is the Luxor.
The Luxor, yeah, I saw
Luxor
that.
and then Excalibur.
Is it-
Yeah, and I think there's 69 and 79 a night.
The Excalibur was 43.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Excalibur was 43?
Yep.
That's unreal, yeah. Versus the Mandalay, which
Yeah.
is high end. Yeah.
Especially we borrow the hot plate to take over there.
All right, so that's good. That's good. That's good to know. Are they safe? What do you mean safe?
Single woman traveling alone, I need safety.
Well, you want a chaperone or something?
No, if I have to go be traipsing back and forth to hotels to Mandalay Bay,
all right.
I want to make sure that it's safe.
Oh, I understand.
Point being,
Okay,
I don't want to be in a sleazy hotel.
a sleazy hotel.
Yeah.
The Mandalay sits here,
Yeah,
Luxor,
it's right there.
and then the Excalibur.
And there's a tram that goes
And there's a tram, and there's no, okay, all right.
very safe area.
Okay, that's all I need to know. All right, good, okay. Well, I have to,
I understand. Thank you.
oh, okay, I'm gonna, because we're limited on the other one. All right, so, in regards to Portola Park, I thought that workshop went really well, and I wanted to know, I wanted you guys to know that, and I thought Larry did a really good job and handling the crowd and all the questions that were flung at him. And I just wanted to convey that. So there you go. One less thing to talk.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Well, since this is an unusually short meeting, we can move right into commission comments. I certainly want to be sensitive to those who have a number of comments to make. On the other hand, we want to maintain some timelines. So the limitation, Carol, is now 5 minutes for each commissioner, and we ask if you can stay within that line if possible. So I am going to start with Commissioner Rosenberg.
Thank you. For Total Park Workshop, I think Larry was phenomenal because he had some really hostile people to some extent that wanted their way or nothing. But I think, again, he proved that RJM and how they do what they do is why it's a signature when you look at the sports park, Mission Viejo Community Center, the things that they've designed, and the way they go from step A to finally step Z. And I think I was really personally pleased with the outcome of what he presented, and hopefully we won't face a lot of people who are trying to change what makes a lot of sense. So it was a great workshop. I went to the Cherry Park Art Fiesta this last Saturday, which was really neat. It was a neighborhood coming together, community type thing. I missed Mrs. Bennett, but there were a lot of enthusiastic people who now have put their own personal stamp on the neighborhood, and I think if we can do this in other places, it's a great example of things that will bond people, to the city, to the community, on and on. Dino Days, I know Loretta went both days, and I did the Sunday gig. Lots of people, lots of smiling faces. Better than last year, if it could be, but he had a couple new wrinkles in there and things, and really, really well done. Always just from the past and in the future, including my other part of my life, our Marines. They had their summer family day that was very well supported by the community on the 11th, Thursday, a week ago. They will be here on the 4th of July with a little different type of display. Instead of a marching unit, they're actually going to bring up tactical units. On the parade route, they will have 50 caliber machine guns in the turrets of the Humvees, and the walking Marines will be armed and dressed in their combat gear, what they wear out, and when it's 110 degrees, which will be here probably too. Some working dogs, and then including another dog that has been awarded a Purple Heart, among other things, was wounded in Afghanistan a couple of years ago and wound up losing a leg. The dog has been since adopted by its prime handler, so they're going to be here too. And we're going to do a meet and greet up by the gym, up by El Toro High School in the morning before we stage them into the parade route. So that'll be an opportunity for a lot of people to get to see him and meet them. So that'll be fun. Just some other quick kind of random thoughts here. Our Art League, did we get participation, Vicki, in the, okay, all right, just talk, she wanted to be involved.
Yeah, we did contact them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And her thing to me, we want to be involved, want to do this.
Right.
So
Sometimes it's just a timeline of when they're available.
Yeah.
But we specifically wanted to contact them because we kind of thought that was down their venue, and maybe the next time they'll be available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just again, a base touching thing. At the last meeting, I briefly mentioned something related to what come up at the city council meeting in May with the commission reports, and I had put something together to share with everybody, some thoughts on that. Unfortunately, my printer and I have not spoken for the last couple of days, at least not in a friendly manner, so I probably could have done it and emailed the end. I was so frustrated. So would it be okay if I were to email it to, besides staff, to the fellow commissioners as well, or is that considered a?
I would recommend, if you want to send it to me, then I can
Okay.
share it with
Yeah.
everyone, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that would be better.
Okay.
Cool, thank you.
We'll take a look
All
at it. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Something related to seniors, quickly, an idea. I saw about a week ago a senior couple, very obviously senior couple, doing some bike riding. I thought to myself, wow, we've got sports park, there's some flat areas, there's trail, there's all kinds of things. A bike program. So I went, Google tells you everything. I thought this was a very novel idea that I had. It's not. There are cities that have senior bike programs to the point, all the way to the point where they provide the bikes, they provide God knows what. I'll put a little bit more together. I'd like to then, again, funnel it to staff, and then you can maybe funnel it back out. But it's something maybe that might make some sense to do. Again, a different form of fitness, et cetera. And then last, Special Olympics coming up. Greatly looking forward to the opening event locally in Laguna Hills, the special events, special needs dance, and unfortunately will not be able to go up to L.A. because of other commitments during that time for the games themselves. Thank you.
We are working with Laguna Hills right now to come up with a timeline and timeline and agenda for all of you to have when we know when we want to have you where, if you're available. We haven't come up with that quite yet. I do know that there's a pancake breakfast involved where they will want you to be there on one of those days if you're
think
available.
Maryland gave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as we get a better line on the timelines for things, I'll be giving that out to all of you, and we're very much looking forward to it as well.
Is that July 23rd is the timelines?
Yeah, I think that's the one.
There's a couple different things going on different days prior to the athletes going to LA, starting on the 22nd, 21st or 22nd. So there's other events here within the city that will let you know that they're going to be available for you to come and meet and greet if you'd like to. We'll send out the information probably in the next week or so.
Cool.
Thank you. Commissioner Herron.
Okay, Dino Days was fantastic. I heard wonderful comments. Of course, lines are too long. That's unless you have, I think we could use another balloon artist or a faster balloon artist, because that was.
Can't rush art.
I know you can't rush art, or maybe they're limited to like 4 types of balloon art they can do. I don't know, but so something to think about. And everybody I talked to was very gracious. Like I said, there was a family there from North Carolina, one from Vegas, one from Westminster, Garden Grove. They heard about it from Facebook and Plan Your Day, which I hadn't heard of. Anyway, but there was one family. She says she was disappointed she didn't get there till 3, and they already started shutting down some of the games. And I know, because they explained they were running out of prizes. They want to make it still good for the kids. So she was disappointed having coming later. She didn't realize everything was going to already be shutting down. But another live and learn.
Yeah, they shut down the balloon artist at like 3:30 because the line was so long.
See. So we all need to start working on our fingers and blowing balloons and making, so we can jump in. Or, I know. Let's have a balloon artist class. See, there you go. And then you can offer these people, these students, experience by doing the events, and you don't have to pay them because they're getting experience. Ooh, that brain is really winging today.
I like that idea.
Isn't that good? Because I wouldn't mind. I cannot tie a balloon to save my life. So I would probably take it if you're going to offer it. Just saying. Anyway, okay. I love the Cherry Park Art Project. I was so glad I got to participate in that. So great to meet. We met Bonnie Bennett and her nephew. Yes, we did. That was really nice. Are we going to have like a ribbon cutting for that?
I don't think so, because
Okay.
we have to actually
It's good.
tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow night. We're testing out the sealer, and then we have to seal it all, so we can't
Right.
leave, yeah, so the sealing needs to be done by
Well, of
like
course.
next week.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about tomorrow.
I would love to do a ribbon cutting, but the timeline is not, for this project, we're not available to do it, but I think any other time we do an art project like that, we should try and do
Exactly.
that.
But I did go by today, and it's all covered in.
Still covered.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
still
we have to cover it.
But I was going to ask you, are we going to honor Hannah and her neighbor?
Yes.
Okay.
And her dad, too.
Oh, and her dad.
Yeah, her dad was amazing.
Very
He came and helped as well.
Oh, everybody there was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Speaking of honoring El Toro High School Choir, we're going to still do that?
Yes, we have their information so we can contact them. If we can't, I'd like to do it in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, his mom comes to the senior thing every
Yeah.
Thursday. So if you have any questions, just come on down
Okay.
out, and she's there. Mom and Dad are there. So there you go. You
We can do a lot of honoring in July.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I did the walk Monday with the seniors, and there was a gentleman skating, and all around the park, and he has a helmet with the thing on, camera. And I said, "Oh, are you why do you have this on there?" He said, "Well, there's a lot of unleashed dogs in the park, and that way, if they attack him, he has proof." So, I think we really that's telling you, we got to really enforce those dogs off the leash. Because if you've got somebody that's going to be taping it, that's all I'm going to say. You can fill in the rest of the blanks. Okay.
I'll relay that information to animal control.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then also, when I was at the nature park, I realized we still have one of those bluebird nesting boxes up there. Do you remember? Oh, I know, it was a long time ago. But it would be really nice, and I don't mean like a huge drawn out, just somebody say, "Hey, call the bluebird people, how are we doing? Are we getting bluebirds in our boxes?" Nothing, just a little one-sentence thing I'd be happy with, just because we haven't heard from them for a very long time. Oh, yeah, probably 10, 15 years, I don't know. But it hasn't been that long? Not that long? Well, okay, all right, hasn't been long. But it'd be nice to get an update to say, "Hey, yeah, we're checking our boxes, we've got X amount of bluebirds," or whatever, it's a good project, or not, whatever. Okay, so we got that covered, and then I'm not sure if this is something we need to bring up with the Senior Advisory Board, but I wanted to talk about it. Some of the seniors, when I was at a couple of the lunches, have come up to me and they said, we really need to come up with a different way to inform the seniors when someone passes. And I know it's up to the family. Okay, that's step one. And I know staff is uncomfortable, because we don't want to, because it's a tough topic. But at the same time, these are their friends. And, 4 of them came and talked to me about it. I mean, that's a lot. They said, because sometimes they pass around cards for get well, and they're already dead. So we need to come up with a better way to handle that. Now, I've talked to some other senior people that run senior centers, and they just do it very quiet. They we always have a little bulletin board area. Maybe just have an announcement from the family with the information. Keep it low key, but have the information out there. Because like I said, when 4 people come up to you and say, "Hey, we want to know. These people are our friends, and we don't want to be kept in the dark if staff knows." So, and I don't know if this is something you want to bring up to the Senior Advisory Board to talk about. I mean, I'm just gonna.
We've talked at we have weekly staff meetings, and
Right.
this has been a top of the conversation at the weekly staff meetings. So I think we can start it at the staff level and then kind of take it from there.
Okay.
And see where we can go with it. It's just such a sensitive topic.
Well, it is.
Yeah, and so, but if if you had 4 individual people talk to you about it, then it's something that
Yeah, that was just
we need
the other day.
we need to address it. Yeah.
That was the other day, and I've had other people approach me
Yeah.
at different times.
Right.
So it is something that we need to look into.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to all the concerts and all the events coming up, and happy Father's Day to everyone. So there you go.
Well, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Commissioner Rajas? Rajas? How am I doing? Okay.
Good. So, I'm sad I missed the last meeting, but I went up for a quick weekend trip to Alaska, which was fun. But there's no place like home, so. And their parks are basically just ginormous patches of grass with moose running around. So, you know, our parks are better. We don't have moose, but put that on the list. Moose Park. And but I did have a chance to go to the Potola Park workshop, the second one. A lot of passionate people. You know, it is what it is, but it was cool to see community members out here actually speaking about what they wanted. I thought it was cool seeing the younger girls talking about wanting the soccer field, you know, just seeing younger people getting involved. I didn't even know government existed when I was that age. So there you go, progress. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming meeting, and, you know, I'm looking forward to learning more about what the community wants and seeing what happens from there with that park.
Thank you. Commissioner Workmeister?
Okay, I will be brief. Jim, I would have given you some of my time, I'm sorry, because you covered some of the stuff. And I'll start off with Portola Park. I made a decision not to go to this last workshop just because I live there. I actually talked to Scott about it, and I just thought, okay, I know this is, but I have to say, we have a little Facebook page in the neighborhood, and I get a lot of people IM me all the time with stuff, and everybody, I got all positive feedback from the people that were there, and from the actual Portola Hills neighborhood folks. They were very happy. They understood all the issues, but I thought people were very happy with the outcome in the neighborhood, so that was kind of nice to see. I wanted to ask about Special Olympics, but we already covered that, so thanks, Jim. And something came up, speaking of our neighborhood, unfortunately, one of our neighbors, and I don't know this neighbor, but read about it, their dog was bitten by a rattlesnake and died. And so and it's a terrible thing, but one of the things that it made me think of, there are rattlesnake antivenoms that you can give to dogs. And I think with the drought, and especially up there, but in Foothill too, with all the construction going along, we're seeing a lot more snakes. And so I wonder, I don't know if we can talk to like the guys who run the dog obedience program, but I wonder if there's a program where we can educate people to encourage them. You can get this anti-venom. I just don't know if there's anything we can put out to, and it may be too late, you know, in the year, but I wonder if this is something we could look at some point. I just don't have the answers, but I was writing something on it the other day, and I just thought, well, I'll ask. And it doesn't have to be a big deal, but I think we're going to see more and more of it, especially with this drought this summer. I think, like I said, we're seeing a lot of snakes already, and they're big ones. You know, after the fires, we lost most of the snakes, which wasn't terrible, but now we're starting to see some very large ones. But I know there's programs. I know the vets all have the anti-venom. Just letting people know that, hey, it's a good idea, especially if you have a dog that likes to run around, you know, Whiting and some of the other areas, but, you know, they're all over. So I don't know if there's anything we can do.
Jeff, to maybe just interject and take 10 seconds of that time. Yeah.
Please.
What about all the social media methods we have and our website or things like that, just informational?
Yeah. Well, we used to, I know, and this was a while back, this is 3 or 4 years ago, we were contacted by a group, and I'll have to go back and look at my information, that it was a training course about what to do. It basically trained the dogs to stay away from rattlesnakes. And we used to do it at Serrano Creek Park. Let me go back and see if I can find that information.
I think I know the group because
You know
they're
what I'm talking about?
they're at that Rahagas shooting range. They actually do training out there.
Yeah.
So, but let me know, and I can help you with that.
Because that would be an interesting thing to correlate with the other part of the event. I know somebody who's given their dog the anti-venom already.
Yeah.
Due to the same
and we're just
they're talking about. So I don't know if we could do something with animal control. I mean, we'll try and come up with something, but I would like to talk to the people that do that training.
Okay.
Again.
Let me know if you can't find it, and I'll see what I can pick up too.
Okay, and I'm just going to tell you, Oso Lake Camp, they do a class on dogs and rattlesnakes.
Oh, okay. Perfect. And That was most of it tonight. Another great report. It's so neat to see all the attendance at all the different activities and stuff. And so the staff's just doing a great job. And thank you.
Thank you. I have a few brief comments. One, we're wrapping up a very successful year, as we've been doing several years at Heritage Hill Park. We have a program for third graders with the Saddleback Unified, where we take all the third grader classes, they bus them in on a field trip. We run about 120 children a week. We actually run a very active park program. And within the city, even though it's county, it's all volunteers. They do not have any budget money whatsoever. The volunteer organization that I belong to, Friends of the Hill, which I've been a member 12, 13 years now, all volunteer time. They're retired school teachers for most of them. And we have a curriculum where we have a program where they actually go to school like they did in the 1890s in a one-room schoolhouse. The church has a program to talk about the history of the area and the agriculture and what it's like to live as a child, to learn to living on a farm. Because a lot of these children have never had exposure to what it was like in the Saddleback Valley 150 years ago. So we just wrapped up this week, and if you look at head count, when you're running 500 children a month through that program without costing the county any money whatsoever, it's all run by volunteers, by the way. So there's a staff. We split them up in small groups of 15 each, and it's called a hands-on program because it's not a lecture. They actually participate in activities as far as things like doing laundry. You know, when you don't have dryers and washing machines. So we teach the kids, if you were a third grader, you would be helping your mother, the girls, doing laundry. If you're a boy, you would be helping your father working in the fields and the agriculture and picking fruit. And we talk about the history of the area because when the Spanish came here, they loaded on their ships cattle and sheep and fruit trees, and our climate is exactly the same climate as Southern Europe. And that's why our industry thanks the Spanish for providing the opportunity of planting all the crops and the cattle and the sheep and the wildlife. If it wasn't for that, we'd be complete desert here in Southern California without any crops. So once the children appreciates that, and I've had children come back 10 years later, you know, as an adult, and remember the classes that they went through as a third grader. So I wanted to point that out to the staff, that perhaps there might be an interest to synergize with some of the activities that the park has and look at continuing our partnership with the city and special events, which you are budgeted for, particularly during the holiday season. And if there's an interest to look at the activities that I mentioned, I'll be happy to share with you the curriculum. The best way of learning about it is to audit some of the programs that we're doing, so you can take back input that you might want to make part of your curriculum working with the younger children. So I make that offer to you. The last item I have is that Heritage Hill Park volunteers are very active in synergizing with other organizations like the Daughters of the American Revolution. They are committed for preservation of history. They're committed to work in the community, and they're very active. They have a chapter here in Mission Viejo that covers Lake Forest, and we have been part of their activities. For example, as you know, I love to do historical figures. So we, a few of us got together and we did a mini presentation of the Rancho period during the 1840s, and did a dramatization, and we presented that and was well received. So we are very much into the history side of the equation, and we'll continue to make that contribution to the community. Thank you. If there's no further comments, I will adjourn the meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.